Are you a school psychologist trying to get a new job? Then you've come to the right place. If you've been to a school psychologist interview, you know it is so frustrating and overwhelming. That's why in this video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of a school psychologist interview so you know what to do before, during, and after each interview with key questions so you know what to ask for and how to get it, and you can get the best job choices for your needs. Hey, what's up? I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate and school psychologist, to make IEPs and 504 plans so much easier. If you're new here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button to get more videos like this in your inbox, and follow us on Instagram at Rise Ed Advocacy. Here's what you need to know about school psychologists. So first of all, how many school psychologists are in the United States right now? When I last checked, there's about 50,000 of us across the country. That's not that many of us. And here's something else that you may not know, pro tip. There's about 7.3 million students in the United States who have individual education plans, also known as IEPs. That means, comparing the numbers, there is more than enough need for new psychologists in the United States today. So your chances of landing a job are a lot better if you know exactly what to ask for and how to get it. Make sure to keep watching this video where I'm going to give you all of my tools and resources so you can land the best job for your needs. Before we dive into a little bit more about what to do before, during, and after each interview, we first need to back it up a minute. And as a new school psychologist, you need to know a little bit more about what we do and how to prepare for your actual job transition. So here's the thing that your university is probably not going to tell you, pro tip, is that a lot of times as a school psychologist, we're going to be wearing a lot of hats. What am I saying? I'm saying that depending on your district, some districts you might be doing 80 to 90% of special education assessments. In other districts, you're going to be doing a lot of what's called response to intervention, or MTSS, or tiered intervention plans. You're going to be doing all different kinds of things. And one of the biggest things you're going to be doing is being able to understand and clarify for parents the difference between IEPs and 504 plans. So here's what you need to know, pro tip. When it comes to eligibility or qualifying for an IEP or a 504 plan, they are not the same. Specifically, when it comes to eligibility. Now, there are differences between qualifying for a 504 plan and an IEP, and the one that you probably don't know about and your university is not going to tell you, pro tip, is that both IEPs and 504 plans are covered under what's called free appropriate public education, also known as FAPE. More about this in just a minute. So perhaps you're going into the interview and you're like, okay, April, now I hear what you're saying, but I need a little bit more information because I feel like I still am confused. Make sure to grab our free guide, The Difference Between IEPs and 504s when it comes to eligibility, so that if they ask you that interview question, you know exactly what they're talking about. I've also got a video I want you to check out that talks about IEPs versus 504 plans. Understand the difference and know how to choose right. That goes through all the provisions of both IEPs and 504 plans. So if you get asked that question in an interview, and I can guarantee you when I got interviewed, I asked that question, you know exactly what to do. Make sure to grab the links in the description box below. So now it's time to dive into what you need to do before you walk in the door for a school psychologist interview. Here's what you need to know. After interviewing tons of school psychologists and interns and being on the committee, here's what your school or your district is probably not going to tell you. Pro tip is that all school districts, first of all, have what's called a paper screening. What am I talking about? I'm talking about that when they open, or what I call fly the position for a school psychologist, they first kind of open it up and do a preliminary screening. So what does this look like? This looks like they open the position and they put it on something maybe called EdJoin or one of the other district websites, or sometimes they put it onto other school psychologist sites or even at your university. What this means is they are going to be doing the initial screening to kind of weed out who they should pick and zone it down in terms of the applicants. Now, here's something else that you may not know. The first thing that they're going to look for, and it seems so obvious, but this could be something that could be easily missed, is they're going to be looking at your resume. Now, what do you want to put in your resume? You want to put all of your job skills that you've been doing that are related to school psychology. What am I saying? I'm saying don't put in stuff like you worked at this, fashion place, or you did this job before that has nothing to do with school psychology unless you feel like that's going to make you an asset. So cater your resume that's specific for school psychology. Here's something else that your university or school district may not tell you. You need to make sure that all of that information is accurate and correct. What am I saying? I'm saying that you need to make sure that there is no spelling errors. You need to make sure that your licenses and credentials are up to date because they may be looking into this before your interview. Pro tip. You also want to be honest and truthful about your job experience, but make sure that your resume is hopefully, preferably at least 1 or 2 pages long and is easy to read and clear and looks really different. Because the truth of the matter is, pro tip, they're going to be trying to weed out so many school psychologists, and I can't tell you how many school psychologists I've interviewed where they've had mistakes on their resume. They said they did one thing and they didn't. They came to the interview and they were totally off guard because they hadn't checked their resume or even if their license was up to date. So these are all definitely things that you can do before the interview to feel so much better. Here's something else that your school or university may not tell you. Pro tip is that you need to think about if this is a good fit for you, if you would like to be a school psychologist in the district. What am I talking about? I'm talking about that you need to go on the school district website and even the county website to find more about their policies and provisions and personnel that work at the district. That way, if you get called in for the interview, you can do a lot more when you know who is working there, what are the policies and provisions, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to say in your interview in just a minute, but this is a key factor to distinguish yourself from other people. Here's something else you need to do before going into your school psychology interview. You need to review these terms because I guarantee you, pro tip, they're going to ask you these types of questions in an interview. What is FAPE? What is an IEP? What is LRE? What about procedural safeguards? What about comprehensive assessments and what does that look like? Make sure to grab our free guide, The 6 Pillars of IDA Law, that goes through each different provision and clarifies what they mean. So before you walk in the door at the interview, you know exactly what they're going to ask you. Make sure to grab the link in the description box below. Now, here's something else that you may find out when you go to a school psychologist interview. They're going to be asking you a ton of questions when it comes to special education assessments, specifically psychoeducational assessment in terms of the reason for referral, what recommendations mean, standardized test scores, a battery of standardized tests, and what you would give and why. I've got a video that clarifies what to ask for and why with special education assessments that dives through each portion of the report. I made the video for parents and school psychs. Make sure to grab the link in the description box below. Now it's time to talk about talking points in your school psychologist interview. So what are they going to be asking you? Typically, when I've been interviewed as a school psychologist or when I've been in an interview committee, they're going to be asking you one of three questions. Number one, they're going to be asking you questions about psychoeducational assessments. What are they going to be asking you? Questions about eligibility, about how you do the assessment, what kind of battery you use, and your process for testing students. So remember I talked about earlier how you want to look on your district's website for policies and provisions? This is when this information pays off. During the interview, you can talk about this. Oh, I already looked at your district policies and provisions, or I went to these professional development things, or I did my own professional development, or I did this webinar or talk with other people, and be able to sell your assets, meaning what you excel in and how you stand apart from other applicants in their interview. They're going to be looking for not just that you know the answers, but that you are innovative, creative, organized, and that you bring a lot to the table, and that exactly describes why they need to hire you. So perhaps you're watching this video and you're like, okay, April, I feel so overwhelmed and I'm a brand new school psychologist. Where can I get all this information when it comes to IEPs or when it comes to special education assessments? I've got do-it-yourself workshops that walk you through understanding reports, that walk you through IEP meetings and how to develop an IEP based on what an advocate would be looking at, and how to request testing, and most importantly, how to effectively include parents throughout the assessment and evaluation process. Make sure to grab the links in the description box below. Now, something else that could happen in your interview is they're going to be asking you more questions about things like 504 plans and doing intervention. Here's something else that you'll want to definitely do your research on and be able to showcase this during the interview. Pro tip. You're going to want to talk about behavior, specifically how you work in certain scenarios. So one common question that you could get asked during an interview would be, okay, this child is having a meltdown in the hallway, or this child is struggling with behavior. How would you work with this child in order to remediate their unique learning needs? So you would go through and describe a scenario and how you would work on it. And you want to show during the interview that you know information in terms of free appropriate public education, 504 plans and IEPs and discipline, and you know the policies and procedures. I've got a do-it-yourself digital work guide that's called the Ultimate 504 Guide that lays out tons and tons of preparatory information so you know exactly what to do when it comes to 504s and discipline under the OCR provisions of Section 504. Make sure to grab the link in the description box below, because more often than not, even if you don't get asked the question in an interview, when you become a school psych, you are going to be writing 504 plans. When you become a school psych, you're going to be asking questions. And if you have to do a manifest determination review, a functional behavioral assessment, you need to know the policies and procedures. So make sure to grab that link in the description box below. So now you've done the interview, you prepared before. What do you do after the school psychologist interview? This is one of the things that I see mistakes on most often with new applicants. Pro tip is that they don't follow up. What am I saying? I'm saying that after the interview is done, you need to wait 2, maybe 3 days, and then send an email. Make sure to send an email to whoever is on the committee, thanking them for the interview, sending your resume again, and saying you can't wait to hear back from them. If they have any questions, please reach out. This also means about 1 week, 2 weeks, and 1 month afterwards, you need to continue to follow up. Nothing makes a job easier for them to choose if they see, oh, she's following up. Oh, she has a question or he has a question. So making sure after the interview that you follow up. Here's another pro tip that you may not know, is that after you're done with the interview, if you have friends, if you have colleagues, if you know people who work at the district, here's what you want to ask them. What is it like working in the district? Do you know so-and-so who did the interview? Can you put in a good word for me? I can tell you more often than not, I got most of my jobs because I knew someone who was on the interview committee, or I knew someone else that worked in the school district, or I had a friend or a teacher or a student who could vouch for me. So they will hire more than likely people that they know or someone from the inside. Another pro tip is that if you're interested in a district and making sure that you live close by, or if you're able to do the internship in that district that you're interested in, that's another pro tip, and it makes it really easy for them to be able to choose you over all the other applicants when they're reviewing your file. So now you know what to say in your school psychologist interview, specifically how to prepare before, during, and after an interview. Here's something I want to ask you. What's the one thing that you feel like you want to do to get ready for your next interview? Do you have a question? Make sure to put it in the comments below. Want me to do another video? Yep, you put it there too. Make sure to like and subscribe to get more videos like this in your inbox, and follow us on Instagram at RiseEd Advocacy. I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate and school psychologist. I can't wait to see you for our next video.